The clock has struck 2025, which means we've been in One Piece's final saga for over 2.5 years now. I can't believe it's already been that long, and I'm so excited to enjoy the rest of the story as the manga develops into its final stages. But unfortunately, since the final saga started, One Piece has had one major issue. There are extreme inconsistencies with Haki. Today we're going to be talking about the dangers of Oda's writing style and why his inconsistencies with Haki can be dangerous for the future of the story and why it's important to talk about these issues. We'll also be taking a look at a lot of different examples that community members have brought up as huge faults in the story and explaining why they are problems in the first place. This video was not made to hate on One Piece. It is only because I love One Piece so much that I'm able to criticize it like this. So when you go in the comments down below, let me know if you agree with these criticisms or you're okay with the inconsistencies in Haki, and while you're down there, make sure to like and subscribe. First, I think it's important to establish some context as to why there are Haki discrepancies in the story in the first place, and I think the reason for this is that Wano was so Haki focused. In the Wano arc, we were introduced to Advanced Armament Haki, or Ryuo as the Land of Wano calls it, as well as Advanced Conquerors Haki, two very important upgrades for the characters in Wano that were seemingly pushing those characters to the top echelon of strength in the One Piece universe. So much time, effort, and panel space was put into the story by Oda in order to flesh out these abilities and explain their importance in defeating Kaido. And I loved this. I loved seeing an expansion on Haki, considering in the first half of post-timeskip, we seemed to be a little bit lacking on the explanations as to the greater levels of Haki in the story. And because Wano was so in-depth like I just mentioned, it makes it even more jarring that in all of Egghead, we had absolutely zero depiction of any of this Haki. That brings us to our first problem. Oda is not drawing his power system. In Egghead Island, we saw 3 different groups of extremely powerful characters. We saw the Admiral group, which was just Kizaru, we saw the Straw Hats, and we saw the Gorosei. 3 groups of characters that are undoubtedly in the top group of strength in the One Piece world, without question. So if this arc was right after the arc where Advanced Conquerors Haki and Advanced Armament Haki were introduced, why did none of these characters show us they were using these powers? Well, there's 2 possibilities here, and both lead to pretty unfavorable outcomes. The first is that these characters are using these powers, and Oda is just not putting in the effort to depict them on the page. If Luffy is using Advanced Conquerors Haki in these panels, and if the Gorosei are using some type of Haki power on these panels, and Oda is just not drawing the indicators, it is a huge problem for One Piece readers. I know a lot of One Piece fans aren't really into power scaling, but it is really a huge part of the One Piece story, understanding what level of strength certain characters are on, and how far certain characters need to go to overcome those challenges. If the indicators for these powers aren't being drawn on screen, how are the readers supposed to understand what level of strength these characters are at? And the interactions between these characters kind of loses a lot of its luster because you're not sure who is going all out. The second possibility is that these characters are not using these powers, which is why Oda is not depicting them, which brings up an entirely new issue of why aren't these powers being used? For example, Advanced Conquerors Haki is the most powerful ability in the series that we were introduced to in Wano, where Luffy fought against Kaido. So, when the 5 Gorosei members show up to Egghead to take Luffy out, it is very clear that Luffy should be using Advanced Conquerors Haki because he is in an extremely dire situation, and Advanced Conquerors Haki is Luffy's most powerful ability. So, if the reason Oda isn't drawing Advanced Conquerors Haki on screen is because Luffy isn't using it, why isn't Luffy using Advanced Conquerors Haki? He's in what is arguably the biggest pinch of his life, trying to save all of his crewmates. Surely he should be using the most powerful power he has access to. Now, my examples so far have been focused specifically on Egghead Island because it is the easiest to explain with. However, these Haki problems have spread throughout the entirety of the final saga in every little pod of stories that Oda is telling. Because of his inconsistencies on Egghead, we have gotten confusion about the Law and Blackbeard fight, we have gotten confusion about Garp's raid on Hachinosu, and we've even gotten some confusion already on Elbaf Island. This issue is not just isolated into Egghead. Because of Oda's poor performance with the depiction of Haki in Egghead, the entire final saga is in jeopardy. This has thrown the community into chaos. The amount of different interpretations I've seen on what or what is not Advanced Conquerors Haki has varied so greatly in the coming weeks that I have seen people even claim that Ulti was using Conquerors Haki in Wano. There are only 2 indicators that characters are using Advanced Conquerors Haki in the story. The first is that there are no contact points in a punch when a character uses Advanced Conquerors Haki, and the second is that when two characters use Advanced Conquerors Haki, they split the sky because of that no contact. These are the only two indicators that Oda has established in the story. However, when Luffy got Gear 5, he completely abandoned these two indicators, even in the later half of the Kaido fight, which has led people to claim that certain streaks of lightning or certain sound effects on screen indicates a character using Conqueror's Haki. This has led to One Piece community members wondering, did Kobe use Advanced Conqueror's Haki in his punch on Hachinosu against Pizarro, or was that normal armament Haki? This has also left people to wonder, is the lightning we see in the Law versus Blackbeard fight Blackbeard's Conqueror's Haki? Did we just inadvertently get confirmed that Blackbeard is a Conqueror's user because Oda didn't want to draw the correct indicators? This chaos has even extended to Elbaf when Luffy goes to throw a punch at Loki for dissing Shanks. It seemingly has an Advanced Conqueror's Haki effect where he is not exactly touching Loki's body or the tree behind Loki, so many readers thought Luffy was putting Advanced Conqueror's Haki into this punch, but it's also hard to tell if this is just the rubble and debris from Luffy's punch creating a cloud of mist in between his contact point, which is exactly why Oda needs to be more clear with Haki indicators, because his mistakes with Haki in the series for the last 2.5 years in the final saga have left readers in chaos determining what punch is using what characters are using what, and who is stronger or weaker than they are made out to be. I know many people don't watch One Piece for the fights, and a lot of people stay away from power scaling as a whole and are just watching the series for the lore, but the final saga has so many good fights in store for us that have been built up for thousands of chapters, and I wouldn't want those fights to be ruined because Oda doesn't have the ability to tell us how strong characters are or what Haki abilities they are using because he's too lazy to draw the indicators, or he just doesn't want those characters using those abilities for no apparent reason. Again, I'm only making this video because I love One Piece so much and I'm able to criticize it because I want the best from it, not because I hate One Piece. So, let me know if you agree with everything I said in this video in the comments, and remember while you're down there to like and subscribe, and let me know what other things in the final saga you want me to delve into as we continue to reach the end of the story. Until next time.